Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Sam Kwok here, one of the Kwok Brothers, coming to you again with another update on the SBA Paycheck Protection Program. And with this update, I do have a little bit of a bad news, and that bad news comes from the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. As many of you guys know, the Paycheck Protection Program was created under the SBA through the CARES Act to stimulate and help a lot of the small businesses, as well as proprietors and self-employed individuals throughout the pandemic. The Paycheck Protection Program loan was also designed to be forgivable if used for certain purposes. For example, 75% has to be for payroll costs, and it can be covered for utilities, interest on mortgage payments, and other rent obligation. Typically, when a loan is forgiven, it must be treated as an income when it comes to tax purposes. Well, CARES Act saw this and closed that loop and said, nope, all loan forgiveness under the Paycheck Protection Program is not to be considered income. This obviously gave a lot of small business owners the incentive to go apply for the Paycheck Protection Program, knowing that the loan forgiveness will not be treated as income and they don't have to pay taxes on it. For those that are not familiar with the Paycheck Protection Program, I made a different video explaining and breaking down what it is and how to get it, so go and definitely check out the other video if you're not too sure about what the Paycheck Protection Program even is. Now, before we get into what the bad news is from the IRS, be sure to subscribe to our channel if you want more updates and the latest information about SBA programs, stimulus checks, as well as investing in real estate. Well, the bad news comes from the IRS with this notice that I'm seeing on the screen. The title of this notice is 2020-32. So let me go and read what the notice is, and I'll break down what it means for you as small business owners and self-employed individuals. It says, purpose. This notice provides guidance regarding the deductibility for federal income tax purposes of certain otherwise deductible expenses incurred in a taxpayer's trade or business when the taxpayer receives a loan, a cover loan. This is, of course, referring to the Paycheck Protection Program under Section 7836 of the Small Business Act. And specifically, this notice clarifies that no deduction is allowed under the Internal Revenue Code for an expense that is otherwise deductible if the payment of the expense results in forgiveness of a covered loan pursuant to Section 1106B of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Securities Act, which is the CARES Act. So what this basically means, guys, that any expenses that are within the category of being forgiven under the Paycheck Protection Program, such expenses will no longer be deductible when it comes to filing our taxes come next year. So for 8 weeks of rent payments, payroll, utilities, interest payments on mortgage, those are no longer deductible for expense purposes because those expenses were used to pursue a loan forgiveness under the Paycheck Protection Program. Although the CARES Act specifically spells out the fact that such forgiveness is not considered income, well, the IRS kind of did a judo flip here and said, you know what? All the expenses that you claimed for the forgiveness part of the Paycheck Protection Program, sorry, no longer a write-off. Pretty much the rest of the 7-page notice from the IRS closes all loopholes for potential deductions and being able to move the money around for business write-offs. And the IRS went pretty thorough when it comes to make sure that individuals and businesses don't go claim their expenses that they were forgiven under the Paycheck Protection Program as tax deduction. Now, keep in mind, guys, that I'm not an accountant, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a tax professional, I'm just a random guy, a real estate investor that is looking through the law and looking at the latest information and update from the IRS when it comes to the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, the question remains, how will the IRS enforce this? When a law becomes a law, it could also be contested through the court of law and also ultimately being challenged through the Supreme Court system. I could definitely see some potential confusion next year, as well as challenges against the IRS by tax attorneys as well as tax professionals, because there's going to be a massive wave of angry business owners knowing that they can't deduct 8 weeks of payroll cost, rent, interest on mortgage payments, and certain utility costs. And as a business owner, those are big costs. I have employees, I have rent to pay for this office space, so I can imagine that a lot of angry business owners will come next year, will start to challenge and fight the IRS on this notice. So in case you haven't smashed the like button, be sure to smash it. If you thought that this information was helpful, valuable, it was eye-opening, whatever the case might be, go and smash the like button if you're loving and enjoying this video so far. So let me know what you think down below. Do you think the IRS will really enforce this? Will it be challenged? Do you think it'll be struck down by the Supreme Court? What do you think? Go and tell me down below by leaving your comment. With all that being said, the Paycheck Protection Program was designed to help small business owners and individual self-employed or independent contractors, and this will be a big sucker punch from the IRS if this is true. But at the end of the day, it does make sense since your expenses were used to contribute to the fact that your loan was forgiven. Why should you also be able to double tap the expenses for tax write-off? So I can see how the IRS might be thinking about this whole loan forgiveness from the Paycheck Protection Program. Then again, times are hard and programs like these are not designed so that people can get richer. It's designed so that people can survive. So with that being said, I'll be providing more updates about this, so be sure to subscribe to our channel if you want more information, latest information about the SBA programs as well as stimulus checks and programs. I'll definitely have more videos out at ASAP. And if you have any questions, go and leave them down below. I'll be more than happy to start a dialogue with you guys.